Hello, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk Relationship. How are you all? I hope you're all well. Stefania Pulio here. For those of you that don't know me, we have a live talk show every Friday afternoon, 12:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time and 8:30 Eastern Standard Time over in the US. And today we have a fabulous topic that we are going to be talking about. And as you see, the title is Intimacy versus Love Bombing. Yes, who of you out there have been love bombed or felt that you've been love bombed? Or who of you have been love bombing? Now, there is a difference, okay? And there's differences in, I guess, love bombing. And today we're going to be speaking about this, and I'm going to be sharing this conversation with the lovely Enolia. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Enolia. Enolia is a life coach. She's an entrepreneur and she's a women's empowerment coach, particularly. And you probably have seen us around speaking a few times. Where we had our own show, Relationship Talk, some time ago. So I have invited Enolia on the show today. So let me introduce you, Enolia. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Stefania. It's so wonderful to be here. And hello to everyone, wherever you are in the world. I'm so grateful to be here.
Great. So grateful to have you on the show, Enolia. It's so good to be back in this position. You know, we have lots of fun when we have our conversations.
Always.
on and off the camera, right?
That's right.
Flows. It just flows. So as you know, tonight we are talking about intimacy versus love bombing.
Yes.
And of course, this is something that a lot of people have either felt, experienced, or maybe, done a little love bombing yourself too, and not really aware of it. But we're going to be explaining like what love bombing is as well. Okay. So just first of all, I wanted to talk about intimacy, and then we're going to go into love bombing and the 4 different types of intimacy, right? And we have emotional intimacy. We have the mental intimacy. We have spiritual intimacy. And of course, we have physical intimacy. Now, all 4 together are, great. If you have a partner that's able to provide that, that is fantastic. But it's the way that I guess it is projected and at the speed, okay, that sometimes it can cross over the line and be called love bombing. So, Enolia, what do you think? What have you got to say about love bombing?
Well, before we get to love bombing, I want to talk about intimacy and how it is of such value, because when you have those intimate moments, when you have those physical intimate moments, I'll start there because that's typically what we experience. That time when you're with your partner and you just hold each other. And it doesn't have to be any more than just holding each other. And you do that for periods of time, long periods of time, maybe even overnight. But that time that you have contact, you have that protection, that closeness between one another, and that feeling of safeness, that feeling that you can share a part of yourself, and it doesn't have to necessarily be sexualized,
Absolutely.
So it is so important to have those moments, those emotional moments, when the two of you finally get past the depth of wanting to know something close about the other or being trusted about something very emotional between one another. And knowing that you can trust and you feel safe. It's a safe space to be in. And those moments, again, are so, so precious. And if you haven't had those types of moments, then you haven't had true intimacy. What do you think, Stefania?
Absolutely. I just couldn't have put it better myself. You just explained it so perfectly. It was wonderful. Absolutely. And I think sometimes we can get mixed up with both of them. Yeah. Would you say that because of not having it flow in a way that is natural, authentic as well? I think some people can bring all that, and it may seem intimate, but there's another side of it as well. And this is where
Mhm.
we have to be careful and know the signs also of feeling love bombed, because those initial stages of getting to know someone, it's fun, it's mysterious, it's exciting, it's all new, and it feels beautiful and fresh. And of course, we love feeling those feel good hormones, don't we? We love the compliments. We love I mean, who doesn't love a compliment?
Yes, you're
Right?
absolutely right. And then, there are many acts that we, may not generally think of as intimate, but they are. Eating a meal with one another can be intimate.
Mhm.
Taking a walk along the beach can be intimate. Picking something out for someone and wanting to share that can be very, very intimate. Meditating can be intimate,
Mhm.
and that sharing of the experience can be intimate. So we experience intimacy not just on a physical, emotional, but there's so many different levels of intimacy if you step back and you really think about that. People would say, "Oh, come on, I eat with people all the time," but when you are sharing a meal with a friend, a family member, or a loved one, and you have that just conversation that passes between you that you realize this is so special,
Mhm.
or you pause to recognize it as special, that I want to have that special conversation with this person. I mean, these are intimate moments.
Absolutely. And I think too, just to add to that, when you're having that flow of intimate conversation, it's like no one else exists. You can be in a
Yes.
crowd of people. Have you ever been with someone where you've been in a crowd and there's people everywhere and there's noise, and yet it just feels like the two of you are in a bubble? It just feels
Yeah.
beautiful. That's intimacy. That's where
Yeah.
the kindred spirits, I say, are just connecting and aligning together, that you get each other. You are in total sync with one another, right?
And I don't want to let go of the fact that we can have these intimate moments with ourselves.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
know, that moment that you're at the coffee shop and you're reading a book and you're lost in your own world and so much action is going on around you, but you don't see any of it. You don't hear any of it because you're lost between the relationship between yourself and that book or yourself and your writing,
Mm.
you
Or
know?
your art, painting.
There you go, your art. Exactly, exactly. And these moments are special even with ourselves because so many of us get lost in
Yes.
hearing the noise instead of having that peaceful moment within oneself that you can self-reflect, think about your day, or get lost in the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Truly, truly, truly. Um, I agree with you there. Wonderful. But this evening, we're going to be talking more about love bombing. Okay. So we know what intimacy is, we know what intimacy looks like, feels like, somewhat tastes like, if we can say that. So let's look at love bombing. What is a love bombing? Enolia, what's
Well,
your interpretation of love bombing?
love bombing is that facade that I come in, I'm going to make you feel oh so wonderful. And it lasts about a hot, I don't know, 5 minutes. To put it bluntly, it's the whirlwind. It's the, oh, you're so this, you're so that, you're so beautiful. And then an expectation is set. And
Mm,
then all of a sudden, that person either does a 300 or 180-degree turnaround,
mhm.
and they're no longer present, or they're no longer present in that love that they've self-proclaimed, or they walk away from it, or
Yeah.
they create a scenario that is not long lasting, but quite temporary. What do you
It's
think? How would you describe it?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And I would just add to that where it's a touch of manipulation, if not to say the
Mhm.
least, right? So a love bomb
Yes.
refers to a form of emotional manipulation because what it is, it's where that person is, as the word says, love bomb. They're love bombing you where they're taking you to higher heights. They're flattering you with words, affection, gifts, praise. It just goes on and on. And it usually happens early on in a relationship, right? And as you said, I know you said it lasts 5 minutes. It can last, that very short period of time of a relationship. Now, for some, it can even be like 6 months, where you're really into that person and you're really into that relationship and you think, oh my God, he's the one, she's the one, this is it. This is my final stop. This is my love of my life. And then all of a sudden, once they've won your attention, you know, all of a sudden they will just disappear because it's like a form of control. It's a form of narcissistic behavior, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It has been labeled as being narcissistic because, that person is really playing with your emotions. They're really taking you for a ride. And I don't know about you, Anolia, but I've certainly experienced it in a way
Well,
that the funny thing is, right? I'm just going to share this. The funny thing is, even though there was nothing, but that person, even 6 months after they've disappeared, you're still thinking about it. And you're thinking, why am I still thinking of this person that's just totally bamboozled me and ghosted me? And I'm still feeling like, this attachment. A lot of it is because we were just in love with the whole idea of it, but not with what it really was. You know what I mean? Like it's just an illusion, an illusion.
Well, I think you just really, really called it out right there. You're in love with the idea of being in love,
Mhm.
and maybe not necessarily in love with the idea of this particular person. And then you talk about the fact that people walk away or ghost. What's even worse is when they stay.
Mm.
They stay, and then the love bomb becomes just they were on best behavior of love bombing for the moment, and
Mm,
then when they think that they have solidified the hooks into you and
mm,
that you would stay, and they've gotten you in the place where to compromise your feelings would just devastate you. That's
yes.
when they show their true selves. And this happens in a lot of different ways. Love bombing until you're married. And then
Mm,
once you're married, all of a sudden it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The person shows themselves after the marriage. And you're
mhm,
like, what happened to the person that was attentive and sharing all of this love and splattering me with these gifts and everything else? And then it's like, go do this, go do that, and the love is absent.
mhm,
So that happens, that manipulation happens, and it's quite devastating. And
mhm,
then addressing what you just basically said, which is I've been shattered with this love and whatnot. It's a manipulation of the emotions. It's a manipulation of the attachment of emotions, filling a gap where they might recognize within you, every human being needs to be loved.
mhm.
Every human being has a need for love, a need for touch, a need for engagement. And that love bombing is also taking advantage of that need, that gap that's taking place in your life. And then they engage it, they hook you, and then they toss your feelings aside like it never really mattered. It's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, that's definitely the feeling of, feeling like you've just uh, been taken for a ride too. You just got that, oh my God, how did I allow that to happen? Particularly if
Right.
you're pretty switched on and you think you got it all worked out. No, I'm not. I will know. I will see the sides. I know, and I'll feel everything. But these love bombers can actually creep up on you, and before you know it, it's happening to you. Absolutely. So have you experienced, Enolia, anything like that? Share.
Oh yeah. And we talk about it in relationships, but I mean they happen in friendships.
Oh yeah,
They
absolutely.
happen in families. I
Mhm.
mean, they happen in any type of relationship. So I've had friends who, oh, you're wonderful. Oh, you're this, you're that. I love you. Oh, how could I have? Why haven't I met you? We've always been friends. We've always been best buds. Oh, we have to do everything together. Let's travel together. Let's this together. And then you're like, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's travel together. And then you're like, okay, I can do this, this, and this. Let's do something. Oh, I don't have time. Well, I don't. I'm busy right now. And then all of a sudden, well, wait a minute. You were just saying we're best buds, that you love me, blah blah blah. We were gonna do this together, and then now that I'm acting on what you've shared that you were willing to do, you're not available. What's
Yeah.
going on with that? you know or it's that family member who befriends and says, oh, I love you so much. Oh, you're like my best friend, even though you're my sister, my brother, my this, that, and the other. And then once the manipulation is over and they got you to do what they wanted,
Yeah.
then they don't have anything else to do with you, or no, you can't, don't attach to me.
Yeah.
I'm busy, I have something to do. Yeah.
Mhm. I think too, because usually there's a motive. There's something they want from you.
Yes.
It's as simple
No.
as that. It's as simple as that. And it's only until afterwards that you feel, I guess, the disappointment, you feel rejection, you feel all sorts of emotions that aren't very pleasant at all. So, what other signs would you say are also love bombing? Because they can be ever so subtle too. Because usually the type of person that is love bombing, they're very good at it, because either they've had a lot of experience or they know exactly what they're doing. Um, or they may be even afraid of intimacy, real intimacy. So they feel that intimacy is just this love bombing, this throwing of affection, but not really being able to get intimate. Because when things escalate to the next level, because they've promised you all these things and they know they can't commit to those, they run away, like they disappear. So, what else would you say, Enolia, that is subtle but love bombing?
Stefania, can you hear me? I cannot hear you. You've actually frozen.
Oh, really? Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Up, you're
Hello?
frozen again.
Hello? Hi. Can you see me? Can you hear me? I can see you. Can you hear me, Enolia?
Okay, it's coming through little by little. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you okay. Can the people out there hear us? If there's anyone,
Can you hear me? Okay.
audience? Okay, Zanetta said she can hear both of us.
It's very, very choppy. I'm getting every other word. Are you hearing me closely? Are you hearing
Yes,
me clearly?
yes, I can hear you. Maybe restart your computer. Restart your
Well,
Probably.
since you can hear me, I'm going to go on and I'm just going to comment on the very last thing that you said, which is, what are the signs that you're being love bombed? And I believe that the signs are sometimes hard to detect, and it depends on the situation. So when you are being love bombed in terms of friendship, a lot of times it's like the person attaches themselves to you so closely and they want to do everything with you. And it's almost like that they don't want to share you. It's quite interesting to experience because either they want to have you all to their selves, and I've experienced that in friendship. Oh, you're my friend. Oh, why are you going out with that person? Why are you doing this and that with the other person? And there's like a hint of that insecurity. And as an adult looking back, I look at that and I'm like, that is a disastrous connection. I do not want to be attached with someone who's jealous, who's insecure, and wants to possess my friendship and possess the caring that I have. That doesn't make for friends. That
No.
makes for control and manipulation. So to me, that is a warning flag. The possession, the jealousy, and the insecurity. Absolutely no. And I'll pause there and ask you, what do you think about that? Do you want to add to those signs in friendship?
Yes, yes. I think, can you hear me now, Inolia? Can
Yeah,
you hear me? Yeah.
very clearly
Okay.
now.
So yeah, you just really nailed it because there's this possessiveness, there's this uncontrollable jealousy that and fear of insecurity because they're gonna feel like they're gonna lose you rather than just enjoying your company with others if need be, but they want to draw you in. Because you see, usually what happens, these people know if they have you too close, okay, to anyone else, they may pick up on the cues that they are love bombing you, that whatever they're doing or manipulating you, they can catch you out. So a lot of the times, if they think they've got the wool over your eyes, they won't let anyone else in that sphere because in fear that they're going to be caught out on their BS. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes,
So,
and in fear that the imposter syndrome will be seen.
exactly.
Mm.
Yes, exactly. So
And
yeah.
then there's the love bombing in terms of the fact that you're with your partner. And, that one can be tough because it's an emotional manipulation. And to manipulate the emotional state can be extremely, extremely hurtful because they see in you what's missing. And if love is missing in your life,
Mm,
or if there is a strong a need for that physical connection, emotional connection, spiritual connection, and that need is being taken advantage of, that can be really tough.
yes,
That can
yes.
be really, really tough. And what they do is they fill that gap so nicely. And you're like, wow, this is amazing.
He's perfect.
This is
She's
all my life
wonderful.
is happening. This is the right person. He does everything perfectly, or she does everything just right. And
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm just so happy. And you're in a happy state. And then
Mm,
every once in a while, there's this pang. There's this pang of sharpness. And you go, and you know what happens is that we tend to overlook the sharpness because we're so ecstatic about finding someone who does and says everything right. And we want to overlook it and we want to justify it. And we
mhm.
want to go, oh, but that was just one time because most of the time he or she is okay. Or most of the time he and she meets my need. And we want to talk ourselves into ignoring that that 5% of that time they were just nasty. They were sharp. They were curt. They
Mm,
didn't show up. They didn't follow through in what they want to. But that's
right.
the glimmer. That's the
That's
glimmer of the truth.
exactly. And if you pay attention or you just sit back and watch and listen, just step back, like third person removed, you'll be able to pick that up. It's just allowing yourself to just, don't doubt. And usually, that hits you in your gut, like your intuitive self will tell you. And usually 99.9% of the times you do have that message come through. It's just that we like to push it to the side because, as you said, they're just saying all the things that we feel we want to hear and sound so right. Yeah. I've just got Zanetta here on the chat. Yeah, who's I can't pick it up on here, but she says, "Yep, that's toxic possessive relationship. Yes, it's also mental manipulation. Absolutely, Zanetta, mental manipulation. I couldn't agree more. And just they're so on cue, okay, because they study you. Don't think that someone who is very experienced, they study you, so they will say what you want to hear. And if you ask, if you listen to the questions they ask you, they're literally asking you so they get that information so they can just regurgitate it back to you in a way that they feel is going to draw you in.
And it's almost like how an abuser would draw you in, because they know exactly what to say. They know exactly the triggers of need, your pain points, your wound points. If you have come from a relationship previously and you are afraid to embark on a new relationship, and they say just the right thing to lure you in, we have to be careful because it's a form of predatorial a scenario. A predator knows exactly how to bring in the prey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think too, they won't disagree with you, of course, because they want to, show that brilliance of you can't do any wrong. You're just perfect. So when that happens, you've got to question that, because when you are with someone who's real and authentic, they're going to be curious. They're going to be questioning. They're going to get involved and want to know your thoughts and project their thoughts as well, rather than continually agreeing with you. Because you see, when someone's in agreement with you, they know that that's a great way of not rocking the boat. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to, create waves. So that's also another form of love bombing, I think.
So what would you say is the ideal scenario to catch love bombing, or to understand the prelude to the relationship such that it's authentic versus love bombing? And for me, when I look at that, and I'm going to try and answer that question because I wouldn't want to just throw it at you, I think it's time.
Yes.
And the reason is because we're in such a state of instant gratification nowadays, right? We want the phone answered instantly. We want to get our answers instantly. Anything that we request, we want it done instantly. We want things now, 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 right? We've forgotten what it's like to be courted. And when I mean courted, which is like, put it in terms of a long distance relationship. In a long distance relationship, you have to be friends first, because you have to find common levels of conversation, common levels of what you have in common, and to talk and to find levels by which you communicate and you get to know one another and know each other really, really well for a long period of time before you bring it to a level of intimacy or a level of physical intimacy. Let me put it that way, because the conversation can be an intimate conversation if you find those different ways that you have things in common. But that time that you take by being the observer instead of just jumping in reactionary. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think you nailed it when you said it's about the timing. When somebody comes in real strong, real fast, and is just like rushing to pretty much, I guess marriage and everything, without like you said, the courting and really feeling that through, yes, that can be definitely a sign, because you need to spend that time. You need to know the ins and outs, get that flow happening, have those interesting, disagreeing conversations. There's nothing wrong with that. I think you need that, because that's only going to enable you to know more about the person. It doesn't mean you have a fight. It just means, well, he or she has a different viewpoint, and it's interesting. And I want to know more about how you see things, if that's, how you want to direct your relationship. So yeah, I think that's really key. The speed is very, very important. um I couldn't agree more. Definitely.
I think that you nailed another piece of that too, which is the not only getting to know you, but if you step back, is this person trying to consume you, or will this person walk side by side? And so this goes back to the definition of what we call relationships and what we look to be fulfilled in relationships. Because if you're with a partner, a lot of people will say, well, he has to make me happy or she has to make me happy. And, if in order to make me happy, my expectation is she has to fulfill this, and this, or he has to fulfill this, and this. And I'm going to mirror that back to people and say, that's not a relationship. That's a possession. Okay. And that if you redefine what a relationship should be or could be, it's walking side by side with one another,
Mhm.
giving each other the freedom to come and go in terms of growth, in terms of what you're interested in. There's some things that you're going to be interested in together, and there's some things that you're not going to be. And the fact that you give each other room and space for the things that you're not interested in with each other, and room to enjoy those things,
Yeah.
and that is okay. And that you can meet somebody in the middle, walking side by side with them by listening to them about what you're not interested in. And, just basically saying, that's not, basically what I would do, but I'm so glad that you enjoy it. And I'm so glad that you know so much about it and you're interested in it, and being able to hold space for you because that's what you love. And
Yeah.
it doesn't, you don't have that expectation of consuming them and saying, oh, well, if you're not into this, I can't deal with you. You know, we've gotten that we can meet each other in the middle, and that
Definitely.
we can walk side by side, and we don't have to consume one another.
Correct. And also, not feeling like you have to walk on eggshells either.
Yeah,
We can,
yeah,
if you're starting to feel like, oh, I better not say this and I better not say that, and you're not in a very flow relationship. You're not in a relationship which is healthy, because you can't be living your life where you feel like you're walking on eggshells and you don't want to step on anyone's toes. Like you said, Inolia, it's about holding space. It's about honoring that person's, beliefs and their own way of thinking. This is what we forget, that when we come together, we're two separate souls that we've journeyed so far and we've met. Now it doesn't mean that we become a possession of one another. It means we've now joined to journey together and respect and hold space for each other and grow together. That's another
yeah.
thing, I think, grow together. And where one supports the other and vice versa. Because, when you're in a relationship, you're not going to have happy dandy days all the time. You can't be the teacher all the time, and you can't be the student. Even in our roles, and I'm sure you can relate to this, Inolia, as being a coach, we're looked up at and everybody thinks, sometimes so highly of us, but we too need support, right? We need companionship.
Absolutely.
We need that partner that is going to give us the lift, that's going to give us the little bit of a coaching encouragement that we give to others. And I think, it's that whole thing of being a teacher and a student to one another, rather than, having that off balance.
Yeah, and I think you really, really said it right there when you said that, how do we fight together? and it fight, debate, discuss, argue. I mean, how do we hold each other's ground? And where do we come in the middle? And how do we agree to disagree? And I'm going to say another thing. If you can't look at that partner and name 4 to 5 things that get on your nerves about that person, or where you had a major discussion and how you resolved it equitably, but still it just unnerves you about that person. If you can't see those faults, there's a problem. You may be getting love bombed. Because
Absolutely.
in as much as we care about one another and love each other and share that, you cannot be everything to everyone,
Oh,
to a person. You
to
just
one,
can't.
exactly.
There's
That's
no
why
such
we
thing.
have friends, right? That's why we have to have
Exactly.
exterior friends. Like we
And if you can't, be honest with yourself in the relationship, I love my fiance, but he gets on my nerves when he does this, and this, and then I just go, okay, you know what? You're triggering me right now, but I'm going to deal with it because I love you. But you understand that triggers me. You understand clearly that I don't like when you do that.
Right.
And we've discussed it and you understand why, but we understand that about each other.
Yeah, and vice versa. Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree with you more. And just tapping in, because we have the lovely Zanetta that's staying with us through this conversation. So earlier on, she says, yes, they make you second guess your own thoughts. So we'll talk about that in a second. There's other comments. She said, if you have the expectation to have your partner to make you happy, you have set yourself up to be love bombed. Absolutely.
Yes,
Cannot have him or her, reliant on them to make you happy, because definitely
absolutely not.
they have fulfilled
It
their
is,
job of
it
love
is our
bombing.
responsibility to make ourselves happy and then engage in sharing our lives with the person next to us. And because we are happy, they enjoy our company and they are happy in enjoying our company.
Right.
But when I expect that you are going to make me happy, I've just put conditions on that love. I've just put conditions on that happiness.
Mm.
And it's unrealistic. Nobody can make you happy. You have to make you happy. Let's just make sure that that's 100% stated and clear.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that is so, so true. So really, embracing that. No one can make you happy. And then she says, that's too much pressure to put in someone to make you happy. She says, if you're not happy within yourself and you rely on external to be happy, it's not healthy. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Because you know what? It doesn't matter who's in your life, you'll never be happy. No one can ever make you happy, and you'll never be happy with life, within yourself, and everything. Because when two people are both complete, both happy in their own little worlds, and then they come together and you're mixing worlds, then you have two big happy bundles and you make more happiness together, right?
Mhm.
And complete.
Exactly.
He's complete. She's
Exactly.
complete. So there's nothing you want from each other, but you've got to be just in total giving. And that's blissful, because when you're giving, it comes from a place of not having expectation. Let's get that clear.
Exactly.
You're giving with just limitless love and having that, bliss of joy in seeing them receive your gift of giving.
And
Right?
let's highlight that limitless love, love without conditions.
Mm.
If you're experiencing, well, if you love me, you'll do this. And if you love me, you'll do that. And well, you must not love me because you won't do this. And men, women, it doesn't matter which side it comes from. Not good.
Mm-hmm.
Not good.
No.
That's not love. That's condition and manipulation. That's a form of manipulation. And that goes down a rabbit hole that I don't even want to engage in that conversation.
Mm.
That's not good.
Exactly. So just going back to love bombing, right? So if you are being, you're feeling all these wonderful things, and then you get this all of a sudden this shift, and this, that person is expecting from you, and somehow you're not fitting in, or your own self-worth, and you're not complying with their expectation, and you will 100% see a shift in their attitude as a result, because you're not complying to their expectations. So there is another sign that, hey, you could be love bombed, and it's a sign. So I think it's something that we must be aware of. But again, when you are in alignment with that other person, and you're both coming from and operating and giving from a place of, like we said, endless, limitless, no expectation love, then the compliments, the affection, the intimacy of all that physical, spiritual, emotional, mental won't seem so heavy and burdened on you over that extended period of time, of course, okay? Because you need time for it to grow and expand. Would you agree, Enolia?
And I would also, yes, I do. I do. And I would also say that you need to trust your instinct.
Yes.
We have this tendency to not trust our instincts because we're in love. And we just don't want anything to ruin it. But your heart, your instinct underlying will say something's not right. I mean, oh, let me just ignore it. Everything feels right. He does everything right. She does everything right. Something's, and you don't trust yourself. You must trust yourself. Because the heart knows, the soul knows. And 9 out of 10, we ignore our soul and we ignore our heart. And we just want to be in that state of bliss, or what we perceive to be bliss, but we're actually being love bombed.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this has been definitely a fabulous conversation, hasn't it, Enolia? Can you hear me, Enolia? Hello? I think I've lost her for a minute. Can you hear me?
You're freezing up on me again a little bit. I'm hearing every other word.
So I'm just saying it's definitely been a great conversation. It's definitely been a great way of, letting people know. And if you're out there listening to the show, even if it's on the replay, please let us know your thoughts, whether you've experienced being love bombed, or maybe you have been a love bomber and not even aware of it, because of our own needs, feeling needy, feeling like we have to project in a certain way, or else we may feel rejected, or we may feel like we may miss out, whatever the reason may be. Either way, it's not condemning. It's just allowing you to see and understand the differences between both of intimacy.
And so important that we stand in our authenticity. We stand in our truth. And our truth may be, it takes me a while to grow that affection and love. And that's okay, or it takes me a while before I truly will receive everything you're willing to give. Let's just pace ourselves, and go and meet, again, walking side by side at that pace by which I'm comfortable. You're moving too fast. Slow down. That's okay. Don't feel like things are going to, if you're not fully attentive, if you're not fully in receivement of what's being presented to you, that it's going to run away. Because if it runs away, it was never there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And don't be afraid to say so. That's important, Enolia, as you said. Don't be afraid to say, I want to take things slower, because that's definitely going to trigger something in them. And, they don't like slow. Love bombers don't like slow. They like fast. That is definitely one big trait. So, all right. Well, it's already 45 minutes that we've been talking. So that's really
Oh my goodness, that quickly.
Yeah,
wow.
We talk for hours and hours, Enolia. But what would you say to the audience here? about this topic, and yeah, your thoughts. I'm happy to, I'm sure they're happy to listen to what you've got to share. And particularly to the ladies, because I know you are a ladies empowerment coach. So anyone out there that is after some empowerment as a woman in Nolia is the lady to go to.
Thank you. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. I would say number one, first and foremost, is trust yourself and your instincts. I would say, okay, if you're one of those type of people who likes to be in it, who likes to react to every single thing that's happening to him, become the observer and watch the person, because 9 out of 10, if you watch the person like you're watching a character in a movie, you'll see how that person operates. It's almost like there are certain patterns that you can pick up on, right?
Mhm.
And what happens is that the routine is broken or the routine is disrupted. They're disoriented because they have a certain expectation of what's going to come from you. And if something doesn't fall right in alignment, they're it's like a step back. It's like, oh, whoa, 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 what's going on? Usually when I do this, I get this reaction from you. How come I'm not getting that reaction from you? What's wrong? Blah, blah, blah. And just again, take it slow.
Mm.
Take it slow. Be the observer, you know, and pace yourself. Pace yourself and walk side by side. It should not come in the form of manipulation. It shouldn't come in the form of consuming me, like, oh, I have to do this, this, and this in order to make him happy. You know, all of those things are really, really important. And the number one thing is that if you have been love bombed, never go. It never can take you so far that it can't be self corrected. If you realize it and you come to a realization of it, you know, the self correction is step back and know that this isn't the kind of love that you wanted in your life.
Mm. Absolutely. Well said. Fantastic. So I would like to say, and I'd like to just send this message out to the gentlemen, since I know yours was beautifully compacted for both men and women, but I think I just want to really say a message here to men, because as men, sometimes you can be love bombed very, very easily. And, I talked about the 4 different types of intimacy that, can come across and feel wonderful. And the one intimacy that men can really relate to, very strongly, I mean, not all will put this first, but a large majority of men, are very attracted and are drawn in by the physical intimacy of a woman, right? So a woman will use her physicalness and that intimate, I guess, act that you can be bamboozled very rapidly, which may, obviously feel wonderful. And that is definitely an area where, don't be afraid to say, let's take this slow as well, because I think that also will help you recognize whether it's real or whether it's it is just a form of love bombing, just to draw you in and get you to wherever her intentions are. I think, and that goes for both men and women, but I think I just wanted to address that to men, because I know, as men, um, you're very visual, very physical, and it's something that draws you in very easily, and it's very understandable. Okay, it's just natural. So be conscious of that. Go within and check within yourself, your gut feeling, your intuition. Your body will tell you, your spirit will tell you, and listen to it. Like Enolia said, best way to do it is just listen. So thank you, everybody, for listening, for joining us. And if you're watching on the replay, please hashtag replay. I just want to say that we're here every Friday afternoon for Australian Eastern Standard Time, 12:30. And for the rest of the world, I haven't calculated the times. I know in Africa, you've been so kind, Enolia, to get up early. It was 2:30 in the morning. She kind of went to bed, I think, and got back up. So I appreciate that.
Exactly that. It's 3:20 right now, but I'm loving every moment of it. I would do it again for you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So just quickly, Enolia, for those lovely ladies that want to reach out to you, and I know also you have an amazing book that's about to be launched. So
Yes, yes,
just
I do.
quickly say that. So if anyone wants to reach out, get a hold of your book soon, how do they reach
Yes,
you?
my book should be launched by the end of next week, and I'm doing a launching party this weekend. So that can be found on my website and also on my Facebook site, primarily on my Facebook site. But I'm easily reached at www.enolia.live, and you can see all of the various things that are going on and the different partnerships and the podcasts and so on and so forth that I offer, and as well as the coaching services. And so I'm on all of the social media, all on speak slowly, right? On all of the social medias. And I have a YouTube channel too at Enolia. So my name being so unique that it is, there's not that many of other people with my name. I should be easily found. But thank you, Stefania,
Yes.
so much
Thank
for this
you.
opportunity.
Thank you. And of course, gentlemen, if you need to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on The Gentleman Square, www.thegentlemansquare.com. Of course, the various platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And yeah, any questions, anyone that wants to come on my show and just have a conversation with me, please reach out. I know you're reaching out to me one by one, and I'm racked because my calendar's getting full, which is wonderful. Please do. And this is for both men and women. So next week I do have a male coming on, which will be wonderful. I know I've had women so far, but gentlemen, watch out. I do have some men coming on. So feel free to reach out to me. And of course, my new book, which is an ebook, and it will be a paperback soon, Master the Language of Attraction, for all you gentlemen or ladies. Grab a book for a male friend.
And Stefania, you gave me the opportunity to tell everyone the name of my book, and I didn't do it. So let me
Yes,
do
please
it
do.
now.
Please do. Yes.
It's Enolia, finding my sovereign voice with my grandmother elder, and it's that journey and that transition to an awakening. And so I'm really excited to share this. And it is not just a memoir, but it's also a self-help book in the respect that it actually has a compatible workbook with it. So not only can you read my story, but the workbook has the lessons learned that I had for each one of the chapters, and then questions that you can ask yourself for self-reflections to start that journey.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Enolia. And thank you, everybody. And of course, as always, I send you all love and passion. Until next time, bye for now. Thank you, Enolia. Bye.
Thank you.